This is Rusty Pilot 88, and these videos will show my journey back into aviation after 10 years. Aviation is a passion, and I love sharing it with people. And it's my hope that these videos will help inspire some to start their journey into aviation. Here we are with the good old Saitek Yoke. So the problem with this yoke that I have right now is that the gap and the play in the actual movement on the yoke for pitch control, this gap here is not wide enough for my panel with the gauges and everything like that on it. So I have the solution. This is my 3D printed Saitek Yoke extension. So basically what will happen is the yoke extension will be placed on right where the yoke attaches right now, and then the yoke will be added on to here, to the end here, and attach. So I have to take apart the yoke. I have to extend the wires about 5-6 inches so that all my switches and LED displays on the yoke will actually still function, and then put it all back together. Alright, let's get to it. So I got all 36 screws off the back here. So now we just have to open this up, being very careful when you do, not to pull too far to break any of the wired connections on the back of our yoke. So you can see there's connections there to the switches here, connections here as well. The push tuck on the front side, what I use as my rotor trim on this side for the focus. There we go. Just be very careful when opening this up. Do not pull too hard. So now you got to get in there and just disconnect all these white little connections here, and then the only thing that'll stay attached will be the front switches here on either side of the yoke. They'll stay attached, so when I disconnect all the other connections, I'll flip this over, and that'll allow me to extend the wires as far as I need to extend the yoke. So let me get to that, and then I'll get back to you guys. Alright, so here we are, completely opened up. So they give you a little extra lead with the connections for the LED screen on it, so I might not have to extend this, but the switch is going to the left here and the switch is going on the right here. I will have to extend, absolutely. So I have to cut all these, solder to make them longer, seal them up, shrink wrap them, and then put this all back together. I'll update you guys in the next step. Okay, so I took off, there was 4 screws. One was right there, right there, right there. Took that off. Now this is the plate that'll come off. And as you can see, there is a... Come on, baby, focus. Come on, focus. Come on, focus. Well, you can still kind of make it out. That silver bar that goes across here, that's what's holding the actual yoke to the pipe that's going into the to the base. So basically what I have to do is undo these 4 other screws and then tap this little pin out, and this yoke should slide right off. Then I can put my extension, my 3D printed yoke extension will slide on. That pin will slide, I mean not that pin, I'll have to put a nut with a bolt with some nuts and a washer through that hole, which will replace this, and then the yoke will be attached on the end here. So let me get to it and I'll check back in with you guys. So at this point I unscrewed the 5 screws that were on this little plate all around, and then you actually push the yoke back to expose the pin here, and then we'll do some gentle coaxing to get this cotter pin out, and then we'll move forward. Alright, so there you have it. The pin's out. Slide the yoke completely off to the front. There is a little plate right here that was attached that I had to actually cut off the connections to get it off. So I cut off the connections, got it off. What I'll do now, the only connection that's still on here is for the LCD in the middle of the... Try to do this one. It's for the LCD in the middle, so that is at a good length. So what I'm going to do now is pass my extension, the wires through my extension, attach my extension to the pole, and then we'll start on the long process of soldering up all these connections and extending them to the exact lengths I need them, and then putting it all back together again. Alright, so the yoke extension is in. I press the cotter pin through, as you can see. Now I want the wires to kind of come out above, but realistically I'll take whatever. But so this is in, so now this slides back. Let me try to do this with one hand. Right there, those 5 pins go back, the 5 screws on the base go back in, then the 4 screws with the plate go over after I run the wires through. So I'm gonna put the 5 screws back in, run the wires through, put the front plate back on, and then go from there. Alright, so I got the pin in, as you can see back there. I have the plate back on, I have the other plate back on, I have my LED at the appropriate length for the screen on the front, and now I just have to solder the connections. So as you can tell by the connectors up here, that one I believe is the larger 8-pin connection, and this one's got 5 pins or something like that. But basically what that means is one of these has one has 8 pins, so this one's an 8-pin, and this one has 10 pins. Yep, 10 pins. So the 8 pin's going to go on the left, 10 pins going to go on the right. Match all the wires up. Match the wires up. Solder. Heat shrink. Run them back along the bottom, up, make the connections, put it all back together. We're good to go. The only thing I actually am missing is a nut and bolt long enough to go through my yoke and the bar. This one's just a little bit too short, so I'll have to run to the store tomorrow and just grab a longer bolt. Nut and bolt set. Other than that, this should be good to go by tomorrow, and then I can continue on with my panel. Alright, I'll check back in once I get all this soldering done. So, here we are. I completed it. All the wiring was added. It works. Everything checks out. All my buttons and switches work. And that's what it looks like with the extension on it. So, it's ready to go behind my panel. And we'll continue moving on here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram at RustyPilot88. Thanks for watching.